Honourable Senators, members of the House of Commons, it is with a deep sense of pride and pleasure that my wife and I join you here today as we witness Canadians coming together in a renewed sense of national pride, unity, and hope.
Hello, everyone. I hope your day is starting off just as fantastic as it can. What a great day to be Canadian, a day filled with so much pride. To have King Charles here in Canada reading the speech from the throne on behalf of all Canadians, a speech that was partly written by himself and partly written by Mark Carney. He is such a good speaker, so calm, so direct, so focused, so unifying in his delivery. Parts of the speech were specifically directed at the United States administration, and much of the speech was directly aimed at Canadians, trying to instill a new sense of unity and pride in our country. And surprising for a speech like this, which is usually ceremonial, there were some very specific key economic points made that I believe Mark Carney is trying to set the stage for what is about to happen over the next few years in Canada. MPs from both parties, ex-prime ministers and military leaders and Indigenous leaders from across Canada listened to the speech respectfully together, but there was one politician that chose this particular day to embarrass themselves. Let's listen to some of the key points.
Every time I come to Canada, a little more of Canada seeps into my bloodstream, and from there straight to my heart. Forever etched into our memories, Canadians fought and died alongside our closest allies. Canada has embraced its British, French, and Indigenous roots and become a bold, ambitious, innovative country that is bilingual, truly multicultural, and committed to reconciliation.
You can see former Prime Ministers Kim Campbell, Stephen Harper, and Justin Trudeau sitting together respectfully, listening to the King's opening remarks, where he talks about our proud history and our values as Canadians.
When my dear late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, opened a new Canadian Parliament in 1957, the Second World War remained a fresh, painful memory. Today, Canada faces another critical moment. Democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, self-determination, and freedom are values which Canadians hold dear, and ones which the government is determined to protect.
Self-determination and freedom, values that our government is committed to protect. This is directly aimed at the United States, saying to them, we will never, ever become a 51st state of your country. He goes on to specifically reference the United States and Canada's trade relationship.
The system of open global trade that, while not perfect, has helped to deliver prosperity for Canadians for decades, is changing. Canada's relationships with partners are also changing. Yet this moment is also an incredible opportunity, an opportunity for renewal, an opportunity to think big and to act bigger, an opportunity for Canada to embark on the largest transformation of its economy since the Second World War, that all Canadians can give themselves far more than any foreign power on any continent can ever take away.
He goes on to mention some very specific economic policies that the government is planning.
The government is responding, reducing middle-class taxes. It will cut the GST on homes at or under $1 million for first-time home buyers, and it will lower the GST on homes between $1 million and $1.5 million.
Additional progress will include the expansion of the Canadian Dental Care Program, which will soon be available to approximately 8 million Canadians.
The government will introduce legislation to remove all remaining federal barriers to internal trade and labour mobility by Canada Day.
There's then a portion of the speech in which he talks about nation-building projects, and I think is specifically talking about pipelines.
The government is working closely with provinces, territories, and Indigenous peoples to identify and catalyse projects of national significance. Projects that will connect Canada that will deepen Canada's ties with the world. The time needed to approve a project will be reduced from 5 years to 2. The government will double the Indigenous Loan Guarantee Program from $5 billion to $10 billion, enabling more Indigenous communities to become owners of major projects.
Let me recap that. He talked about working with the provinces to identify projects that are in the national interest. He talked about decreasing the time for approval of those projects from 5 years to 2 years. And he talked about increasing the amount of loan guarantees for Indigenous people so that they can participate in these national building projects. He specifically talked about major pipeline projects here, and Conservatives and Albertans in particular should be very pleased with what they've just heard. Increasing the amount of loan guarantees for Indigenous people up to $10 billion speaks to the desire of the government to want to build some major infrastructure projects in Canada, pipelines, potentially the big east-west pipeline that Alberta so desires. And having the Indigenous people having a larger loan guarantee is a way of getting them ready to participate in such a large project. Let's see how this plays out over the next couple of years, but this is a real carrot for Alberta. He then goes on to talk about border security, but not by simply parroting Donald Trump's rhetoric that Canada is a major source of fentanyl into the United States, but specifically talks about increasing border security in order to protect Canada from illegal guns and illegal things coming from the U.S. into our country.
The government will introduce legislation to enhance security at Canada's borders through the deployment of scanners, drones, and helicopters, additional personnel, and canine teams. The government will stem the tide of illegal guns and drugs across the border.
He then talks about specific measures to decrease government spending and reduce the size of government.
Day-to-day government spending, the government's operating budget, has been growing by 9% every year. The government will introduce measures to bring it below 2%. The government will balance its operating budget over the next 3 years.
He then closes with some heartfelt comments about his mother and a message to Canadians.
When my dear late mother addressed your predecessors 7 decades ago, she said that in that age and against the backdrop of international affairs, no nation could live unto itself. It is a source of great pride that in the following decades, Canada has continued to set an example to the world in her conduct and values as a force for good.
To you and to all the people of Canada, my wife and I wish to extend our sincere thanks for this, the warmest of welcomes.
As the anthem reminds us, the true North is indeed strong and free.
And with this backdrop of members from both parties, all parties, respectfully showing their appreciation for the speech, in attendance that day, Justin Trudeau, Stephen Harper, Kim Campbell, former prime ministers, Supreme Court justices, senior military leaders, everyone clapping together, thanking the King for his speech and for coming to our country. There was one politician that wasted no time to make a statement. Poilievre says speech is all message, no plan. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre responded to the speech from the throne, saying it includes no real plan. Poilievre, who is not an elected MP, spoke from the foyer of the West Block, where he's allowed to attend with a visitor's pass. What a pathetic child you are, Poilievre. Choosing an occasion like this, the King hadn't even left yet, and here's Mr. Poilievre, an unelected person, a civilian, with his visitor's pass in the foyer, making statements like a barking chihuahua. Yap, 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 yap. The sky is falling, the sky is falling. He's like an annoying chihuahua that a family might have around, you know, that they can't get rid of when they're ready to have a Thanksgiving dinner, or they're going to sit down around the TV and enjoy a program together, and the dog is yap, 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 and they can't stand the thing anymore. So they put it outside, right? They put the dog outside, and they still can't even enjoy a nice dinner or a good occasion, because even from outside, yap, 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 yap. Just shut the f up. It was a wonderful day for Canadians and a real reason for us to be proud. Let's wish Mark Carney the best over the next number of years as he tries to implement his plan. And let's remember who we all are, Canadians, living in one of the most amazing countries in the world. Leave your comments, guys, in the comment section. I will read your remarks. If you're enjoying my content, please subscribe to the channel. Show your appreciation. Maybe share the videos for other people to enjoy. And if you're interested in listening to the full speech, I just took little pieces out of it so that this video wouldn't be too long. I'll leave a link in the video description and maybe in the first comment that I'll pin in the comment section. You can watch the full interview on CBC website, and I'll pin that location, so if you want to, you can. All right, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one.